Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Spunkify here for MMOBomb.com, and today I want to welcome you to another episode of Forum Friday. This week we're going to be taking a look at Dragonball Online, a 3D MMORPG, which of course is based off of the manga/anime of Dragon Ball Z universe. Being with here, we're going to talk a little bit about the races and classes, talk about what's unique about the game, and then whether or not I think you guys should actually try out this game. So to start off with here, we have 3 races to choose from when you actually enter the game. There are the humans, the Namek, and the Majin. Each one of them has 2 individual classes that are specific to that race. So the humans, for example, have Spiritualist, which is a ranged DPS class, and Martial Artist, which is a melee DPS class. The Nameks have Dragon Clan, which is a healer, and the Warrior, which is a tank class. And then the Majins have the Wonder, which is a range/support DPS class, and then the Mighty, which is a melee/support DPS class. Each of them has further specializations after a certain level, which allow you to tailor it even further. So for an example, the human, the martial artist can also become kind of like Trunks style, where they have a sword and they actually use sword burning attacks, etc. In fact, all of the classes and all the races have unique abilities that are from the anime. So there's special beam cannon, there's Kamehameha, which is of course the Kamehameha, there's the tri-beam, and then burning attack, which is like a Trunks move, which is only a sword master available. Now, the classes themselves are pretty interesting. You start off as a kid, and then once you get to level 30, you have the option of becoming an adult. There's a quest line that you can do that actually turns you into an adult. So as your power level grows, of course, you grow older, you've gotten more power, and so you actually change into an adult. You don't have to, though. You can stay as a child and still remain, unique and have all the buffs, etc. like that. It's just cosmetic change. Now, there are 3 or a unique ability for each of the races. Of course, the humans are most like Super Saiyans. They have a little Super Saiyan DNA in them, so they can become, of course, a Super Saiyan. And then you have the Nameks, which can become a giant Namek. And then the Majin can actually become the evil Kid Buu, which you can see on the right-hand side there. The Namek is in the middle there, of course, giant as always. And then on the left-hand side, we have, of course, the Super Saiyans. There's a lot of people in the game that play Super Saiyans just because it's what's, most recognizable from the anime series. But I have to say that the Majin and the Namek are both unique as well. I mean, look at that. They have their own unique abilities and attacks where they're in this mode, which is really unique. It's only the Super Saiyans that actually retain their original abilities. Now, when it comes to abilities and what you can unlock, there are quite a few options to choose from. There are, base attack abilities, which you can upgrade themselves. You can even choose what are called skill ups, which I'll use what's called the RP. Now, RP is basically rage points, and these are accrued by either charging up using the Z icon or Z button, or simply by taking or dealing out damage. When you have enough of that, you can execute a more powerful attack using your abilities here. So you would actually just hit the button for the ability, hold it down, and it will execute a more powerful attack. It can do more power, it can break guards, because there is a guard system in the game. It can do a lot of stuff, and you can actually tailor that so you have the options for certain abilities to do certain things. Now, there's so many abilities available in the game that of course you won't be able to unlock all of them with points, and you're actually going to be able to use some of your points to actually further upgrade certain abilities, which means you can really tailor your build and tailor it to be a unique individual. You can be really much like the anime series, or you can be, something completely different that's not in the anime series at all. You can be your own person, but you do have access to those unique skill abilities that are available in the anime series, that are in the anime series rather. On top of that, you of course have your scatter. Everybody has a scatter that they can use to scout enemies, find out if there's individuals that they can take, find out their power levels, of course, over 9,000 as you can see there. And you can also see, what mobs you need to kill, and there are upgrades that you can use to implement into the scatter to find different things. It's actually a really unique system. When it comes to the individual quests themselves, the quest lines are pretty, typical. There's a lot of kill this, collect this quest. There are occasional quests where you kill a specific mob that's marked in blue, but otherwise it is a typical Korean style MMO grinder, and it's probably the weakest point of the game. There are 60 levels in the game, and it can take quite a while to get to level 60. There are plenty of quests for you to do, so you don't actually just have to grind mobs, but the quests are not unique. There are quest types that are unique, but they don't come very often, and I'll get into those in a little bit. Most of your quests are going to involve killing 8 of this monster, 5 of this monster, 1 of this monster, 2 of that monster, etc. You can see the kind of the quest log on the right hand side there, and that allows you to kind of keep track of where these quests are. Occasionally you'll get a quest like deliver milk or deliver supplies. You may have remembered at the beginning of the video I had milk on my back. I was supposed to deliver that milk in a certain amount of time, I believe, to an area in order to get the quest reward. So you'll have weird quests like that, but for the most part, they're going to be your standard, grind type of quest. Now, for some of you, that's fine. For other people, you're looking for more group-oriented quests or more dungeons to break it up. And there are dungeons in this game. However, dungeons don't make a large portion of the game. The majority of the game is going to be you grinding. There are other unique aspects to the game though besides grinding, or at least to make it a little easier. Of course, starting at level 1, you do get a 7-day mount that you can use, so you're not forced to just run around all the time on your feet. When you get to level 30, you will have the option of flying, which actually allows you to fly places much faster, and it's free flying, so it's not just like flying on a path. However, you won't actually be able to engage in combat currently in flight. That is something they say they're going to implement later on in the game. So you do have to actually land in order to fight on the ground, etc. But it does make traveling easier. On top of that, they also have bus route systems, which are like normal flight paths where you actually pay the gold and it takes you there and you can't get off until you get there. These buses you can jump on and jump off at any time. So if someone calls a bus or someone uses it as a bus to get from one point to another on the bus route, you can jump on, say you're doing a quest midway through, you can jump on as the bus passes by. Once you actually jump on that bus as it passes by, then you can jump off at any point. It doesn't cost a lot of money, and I think it's a really good upgrade to the typical flight path system. I don't know why people do that in general, where they just make it to where you can't get off the flight path. And in this way, you can actually get off when you want to and have that ability or that flexibility to go where you want. As you can see on the screen there, as I kill these mobs, little things pop out of the ground. That's, your currency and your items. There are tons of items that actually drop from enemies when you kill them. It's pretty crazy the amount of upgrades that you can get at one time. In fact, there's a crafting system in the game that allows you to use other items, other weapons, and other armor to further upgrade the armor that you're currently wearing to make it even better. So it's a nice, robust system. Gives you a lot of options here. Here's one of the typical quests where you kill a certain individual. Those usually have their own unique abilities, but they're nothing like that needs a party or needs additional people. It's just a, hey, kill this one unique mob, etc. You still have to kill the mobs around it, etc. like that. Another little interesting thing is that if you leave that, like if I left those items there on the ground for a certain amount of time, it would then become available for everybody to pick up. So you'll often see items that people haven't picked up, and if you go over to them, you're actually able to pick up those items and use them for yourself. So it's not item restricted after a certain amount of time, which makes items that are just like lying around useful if you find a good one. Now, right now, what you're looking at is one of the more unique features of the game, which is the time quests. Time quests are usually certain areas where you get a quest to go into like a rift or go with Trunks into the past to stop or to aid in certain events that are iconic to the DBZ and DB series. So right here, that's Grandpa Gohan, and I am tasked with going to collect Goku, of course, out of the crater, which he just landed in this Capsule Corp pod. So you actually go over here, you go and you pick up Goku, and you're actually going to take him back to Grandpa Gohan's house and fight some wolves on the way, etc. These are like scattered about. They're not very common. There's one every few levels or so, but there are also ones that you can do that are dungeon based, which you'll see later. So for example, this right now, this one is just to kind of introduce me to the system. It's not really a usual one. Later on in the game, you'll have much more difficult ones that require full parties as well. I believe that's the next thing coming up. So these time quests here are pretty unique, and it allows you to interact with characters from the past. One thing about this is it's not set during current events of the Dragon Ball series. It's set much in the future. So what you're looking at right now is when we actually go back to the past and encounter Vegeta and fight Vegeta. I was lucky enough to be able to get on Sabin's account right here, which is a nice person from the MMOBomb forums, and he allowed me to use his high level, of course, human sane character here. I believe this is a spiritualist class. Now with this, I'm actually able to, take out these guys really quickly. We're a way higher level than this is necessary. I believe this is meant for level 40, and we are currently at the max level of 60 here. So don't take this as like the level of difficulty. However, you will be able to fight, Vegeta. Also, you'll be able to fight Frieza in the current iteration. In the future, hopefully Cell, as well as, Majin Buu, etc. they come in like quest or, you know, time capsule quests or zones. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which furthers along the storyline based on which one you go. So the first one is, of course, when Vegeta first shows up, and this one I believe is number 4, when we actually fight him when he becomes into a giant monkey. So it's really cool to be able to interact with characters from the past and really, you know, have those moments, because otherwise it takes a little bit away from the game if you're not able to find those iconic characters that you know, attach to during the actual anime series, and not having you play any part in what happens to them. I really like that addition to that. It reminds me a lot of, if any of you played World of Warcraft, there's the Caverns of Time quest where you're able to go back into specific moments in history. Now this is also a nice little addition there. I kind of had to cut it there a little bit fast, but that is a kind of like a manga series where it explains a little bit more of the story, what's happening, and what you have to do. So as we progress through here, you know, we're actually killing these guys, making our way up to Vegeta. Now there is a separate storyline, like there's a reason why you're in the past. There's these time breaker individuals who want to go in the past to steal Goku's DNA in order to create a more powerful, or, you know, to create another race, I guess, of Super Saiyans. So you are tasked with stopping them from, you know, changing history, etc. So you have to go in there and fight them, along with fighting the bosses and the bad guys from the series at that point. So as you can see here, I get to use quite a variety of spells at my disposal. A lot of these you'll recognize from the anime series, and there's really good special effects. I mean, I really thought they did a good job of making the game feel like a Dragon Ball MMO. I mean, I feel like I'm a Super Saiyan. I feel like I'm using these abilities. They did a really good job. I mean, granted, of course, it's not like free action combat where you do combos and skills and, you know, there's back and forth. But given the fact that it is a normal action, you know, click MMO where you know, or tab target MMO rather, you are given some liberties with your abilities to kind of create really cool combo style effects with your abilities. And you have quite a lot of them at your disposal. As you can see there, I've got 2 full bars there with abilities that don't look, 2 of them don't look the same, which I thought was really cool here. Just kind of trying this out, seeing like what certain things do. You will, of course, see me turn into a Super Saiyan. Yes, you'll get that chance to see that. But as you can see there, we're fighting the giant monkey version of Vegeta here, just like in the anime series here. And once we kill him, then we'll fight the normal version of him, just like had happened in the anime series. Of course, you know, there are some liberties taken, but otherwise, it is really cool to be actually able to go back in time and experience these things. Currently, there's no raids available in the game. There are just these time quests, and the time quests, of course, when you get to max level, can be scaled to your max level, so you're fighting them at what level is appropriate. There is also an area which is kind of like an endurance zone where you basically go level by level by level through this ship, and as you continue down these levels, the bosses and the mobs get harder and harder and harder. There are 100 levels of this, and I believe nobody on the server has actually completed level 100 at this point. So it is quite difficult to do and does require a lot of coordination. It also means that, you know, certain classes are really, you know, special and necessary. You need those Nameks and you need the Majin to actually, you know, do certain abilities or events, because of the fact they can provide unique buffs as well as unique, you know, abilities like, you know, being able to tank as well as heal, etc. Yes, the Majin do get the ability to turn people into chocolate and candy. That was one thing that I wanted to know a lot, and it's a form of CC, which is, you know, completely viable and makes sense in an MMO sense. Yes, you'll want a form of CC. Yes, turning someone into chocolate does make them a CC-able target. Unfortunately, you cannot eat a target once they're turned into chocolate. You can, however, eat negative buffs off of targets as a Majin. So if someone does get CC'd, you can eat that negative buff off them, almost like you were going to eat like a piece of chocolate or something like that. It's a pretty cool system, and it makes a lot of sense. In the storyline right now in the video, I actually just now encountered these time breaker individuals. So now that we've completed the main part of the storyline from Dragon Ball Z, it is now based off of the storyline in the Dragon Ball MMO. So they did a really good job of incorporating the 2 storylines together in a way that made sense. However, I do feel like the overworld story is not as effective and not as well thought out as the time quest story, simply for the fact that, you know, there's a lot of things that plague it with, you know, grinding those quests, etc., and not as many action or, you know, random events. There are no real random events in the game. Other unique features of the game, though, is probably the Dragon Ball feature. Yes, there are Dragon Balls in the game, and you can collect them to get certain unique special abilities and buffs. There are 3 different tiers. The first tier is this kind of tutorial, just gives you some armor, etc. The second tier is, I believe, at level 30, which gives you the ability to fly as well as unlocks your special ability. So, for example, for me, it would be to unlock my ability to be a Super Saiyan. He grants you that wish. And then the third tier is one that the entire server fights over through PK in order to be able to get all the Dragon Balls and get really unique weapons and really unique abilities, only available by getting all the Dragon Balls at once. It's sought after by everyone, and it's really rare to be able to get that. There's only one set, and it passes hands, of course. So I thought that was really cool that they really tied in those elements and made it feel like Dragon Balls are rare. Yes, of course, the first ones are not rare, but the ones that matter are not rare, and are rare rather. So you have to work for them, which I thought was really interesting here. Now, you'll see me charging here, and the more I charge, of course, I can use special abilities, which allow me to do more damage, etc. I also have a block ability, which I can hit by hitting R, which allows me to block abilities, both from PvE NPCs as well as other players. So if I'm dueling someone or if I'm fighting someone, I can use that block ability to block certain abilities. I can also use my charge up, my RP there, to break those blocks, because of the fact that, you know, if I have more of that charged up than the person has blocked, then I'm going to be able to break that block and kill them. So there's quite a bunch of PvP in the system. There's daily PvP tournaments, just like in the anime series. You can go and do that huge PvP tournament as well. And overall, I thought that was pretty interesting in the game. Well, guys, that's it for this episode here of 4 on Friday, Dragon Ball MMO Edition. Many thanks to everybody that helped me out in this video, specifically Sabin for giving me a bunch of information as well as letting me use his account for higher level stuff. If you guys want to learn more about the Dragon Ball MMO, I will be providing a forum link down in the description where you guys can go to MMOBomb forums to check out how to download the game as well as some brief description info. This has been Spunkify. I'll see you guys for the next episode. Spunkify out!